This is Damon Pastalka with the Eggs Your Way Roundtable. And with me today, I have Christopher Nesbit with Nesbit Marketing. And we're going to talk a little bit about industrial marketing. So, Christopher, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into industrial marketing?
Yeah, so like Damon said, I'm in industrial marketing. Basically, that's marketing for industrial companies and services, as well as more specifically specialized for manufacturers. I come from the machine tool maker world, and so I did a lot of marketing for them, big strategy campaigns, and then recently went out on my own and started a company that focuses specifically on manufacturers. So they're very different styles of marketing. We focus a lot on the strategy of it and making sure that we're modernizing the strategies that these manufacturing companies are using to reach their customers, make connections, and actually ultimately close sales.
Yeah, because it is. I mean, this is I'm familiar with more e-commerce kind of product sales and marketing, right? And that's a little bit different, or actually a lot different than what you're talking about. So with that in mind, a lot of people are in manufacturing, could be whatever, are getting approached about marketing now. And well, quite honestly, there's a lot of, this is new to them. So what are some of the things that they should be thinking about this when they're looking at it and looking for when they're talking to somebody?
I think the first thing is to ask whether they've actually done industrial marketing before and had good success. And we're not just talking about getting a lead. We're talking about long-term brand reputation, long-term customer retention, making sure that the brand awareness and making sure that the name awareness is out there, because if they don't have that conversion for customers, it's never going to work in industrial. You may get a lot of emails saying, what do you do? But it's not going to ultimately lead to sales.
That's a great point, because if I'm selling, say, a big piece of equipment or something, an industrial piece of equipment, that I might get a lead, somebody might be interested in it, but they might not buy that thing for a hell of a while.
Yeah. I mean, so one of the things that differentiates industrial marketing and some other high ticket item marketing out there is that the sales lead cycle, lead to close, is much longer. So, not only does it take longer to manufacture and deliver the product, but it also takes longer for the actual sales cycle. So the negotiations take longer, and the mind share, the discovery phase, takes longer as well. So, like you mentioned, somebody may be interested in your product, but may not need or have the ability to buy that product for several years. And so you have to stay the whole time.
Yeah. That's a lot different, because like you said, you could have literally months and months and months of having to, continue to provide content or whatever just to stay top of mind through that process.
Absolutely. And so that's the key, is being able to keep the customer on the hook for longer.
Yep. Okay, cool. So if someone is going to start to do this, one of the things that I've always thought about marketing is that it seems like it's a leap of faith in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Because we know our sales cycles are long, and in the old school method, which I'm familiar with, is when you go out and you got your salespeople in the field, they're making calls, they're doing this stuff. I mean, you kind of get some feeling that things are happening, right? So What are the same kind of things that we can reach out and not necessarily touch, but see in industrial marketing today if you're in there doing it?
I think at the beginning, it's fairly similar. So you keep an eye on your metrics, you make sure that you are making a connection with your audience and see how they're reacting to the messaging that you're putting out there. So that part of it is fairly similar. The difference is that when you start getting into industrial marketing, you're going to be in that phase for a lot longer. Once you start to get some traction with it over time, you're going to get into KPIs. And then, I think that generally you want to keep an eye on how people are engaging with your website. So again, this portion of the process is fairly similar to consumer marketing.
Okay.
Where it starts to change is where you enter the sales cycle. So from the time that you receive the lead all the way till the close, you're still marketing to that customer. And that
Oh,
could be
yeah.
between 6 months to 2 years through negotiation, depending on the size of the project. And so you need to be able to figure out ways to follow that lead, where it came from, all the way to the close of the sale. And so a lot of the time, some pretty heavy duty CRM takes place. So customer relations management.
I
Um,
never thought of that because you're exactly right. Because I might reach out to a place and say that I want this whatever piece of equipment with an knowing that I've got a need 2 years from now.
yeah.
And
And
I
that'll help.
what's
That'll
that?
help solidify the confidence in the process because you start to add up all these metrics and to draw a picture of what the customer journey looks like. Once you understand that, you have to follow a few leads all the way through the process, and that takes time. But once you've got that locked down and you figure that out, you can repeat. And so that's really where it starts to get interesting, is when you've gotten through some time with the
Yeah.
process and you've got the full journey mapped out, then all of a sudden you can start to do that better for the next customers.
Okay. Okay. So the when you look at the overall process, I mean, when you talk about marketing, are you just talking about digital, or are you talking about other things, or what do you typically help clients with?
So, especially in the industrial space, you have to use a lot of different channels because, again, you're looking at doing it over a longer period of time, and so just as well as I do that we're not going to be looking at a digital ad on Google every day
Yeah.
for a CNC, right? It just doesn't make sense. It is part of the journey, but it probably is going to be like an entry point to a funnel, right?
Yeah.
What typically works pretty well is show and tell. I would say that proving out that the product itself works, and again, I'm using CNCs as a good example, but showing out the process works or the actual equipment works. So trade
Yeah.
shows are still valuable. The cost is going up on them. So there's certainly people are starting to figure out different ways to pair up trade shows with a digital ad campaign and go out and maybe do some interesting creative guerrilla marketing and get that out in the world. And obviously social is still big. It's being done wrong by most companies, but it's still big. So you have to be able to get noticed in a lot of different places to be able to get the exposure awareness, because that's a
Yeah.
big component is the exposure.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet. And it is like you said, it could be that trade shows could be really good for you, but then again, that's a pretty expensive avenue too. So,
Hugely expensive, but
yeah.
they're good leads when they do come in. So that's a lot of the time what I've done in the past is we will actually build up campaigns around trade shows. So the trade show is a lead capture. And then what you do is you're doing your magazine advertising, your digital advertising, maybe you're doing some sponsorships, or you're doing some other creative approaches. You really ramping up on your social media, and you start out small. So maybe 3 to 6 months ahead of time. And I love the concept of the momentum campaign for this type of marketing because, people notice change. So you're constantly adding little change for them to notice leading up to. And then by the time you get to like the trade shows, that's the crescendo, right? You put on a big show at the trade show. You have a nice big flashy booth, and it just feels right to make that leap for the customer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's true. That's true. It is, man, it is a lot different when you start to consider industrial marketing compared to just normal consumer product based marketing. That's for sure. Wow. Well, yeah, lots of stuff to think. So we could talk about this a long time. Man, it's very interesting to me because it is a huge thing because everybody has to be marketing in different ways, shape, and form now. But
yes.
If there was like one nugget that you could leave for someone to think about in marketing and industrial marketing, what would it be?
Building relationships with people. I think that right now a lot of industrial companies are they're good at that from the sales standpoint, but that's one-on-one, right? You need to figure out a way to do that with a lot of people, and give them something to chew on for a while, So, and it probably shouldn't be about your product. That's one thing that I notice a lot of companies doing, is that they're really hyper focused on their product. And if you want to get people's attention and befriend them, essentially is what you're trying to do. If you want to do that, then you have to think around the product. So thought leadership is actually a really good direction to go for a lot of industrial companies right now, teaching, training, educating, giving some other value around what you make. And then down the road, you can show them a picture, and then all the dots connect all at once for people at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's a great thing, because it is a common challenge. I think people want to, especially a salesperson, wants to talk about their product, because that's what they get paid to do. So lost my train of thought, but that's quite all right. You did a great job of explaining that. And how can people get a hold of you, Christopher, if they want to talk to you?
Well, Nesbit's a pretty unique name. So on almost all the it is on all the social media channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. It's all at Nesbit Marketing. And then the website is www.nesbitmarketing.com. Nesbit is spelled with one T.
Okay.
And then and then from there, I'll put my phone number out there. That's okay.
Yeah.
360-0179. So any of those, you can get a hold of me. I know there's a lot of different options for people out there to reach out.
Good. Well, I'll also have your contact details in the comments on the video and wherever we got it. So we'll get you there as well. But Christopher, sure been great to have you on today. Nice. It's very interesting topic, and I know it's on a lot of people's minds, because everybody wants to be growing, everybody wants to stay relevant, and you have to be out there marketing now to do that. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, man. You bet. Have a great day. And again, this is Damon with the Exit Your Way Roundtable, and we've got Christopher Nesbit here dropping us a little bit of knowledge on industrial marketing. Thank you.